Hey, what's going on guys? This is Navjot here, back again with another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can install LAMP Stack bundle on your cloud server using Ubuntu operating system. Not only LAMP Stack, we will also install phpMyAdmin and WordPress CMS on our server. So if you are planning to host your WordPress website or a dynamic website on the cloud server, then this is a good idea to install this software stack to power your websites. For those who don't know what LAMP Stack is, basically LAMP Stack stands for Linux, Nginx, MySQL and PHP. Linux is an operating system that we will use to install our software packages. In the Linux operating system, we will use Ubuntu distribution. There are many other distributions like Cent operating system, Debian that you can use, but for this video purposes, we will use Ubuntu Linux operating system. Nginx is a free, open source and high performance HTTP server or a web server that will help us to handle all HTTP requests on our server. MySQL is a relational database management system to store our website's backend data. This software package also includes PHP. Basically, PHP is a programming language that is used to code web applications and websites. After this stack bundle, we will install phpMyAdmin so that you can manage your database accounts using the graphical interface on your web browser. At last, we will create a database and install WordPress CMS on our server. Now, if we talk about cloud server provider, then we will use Vultr.com for this tutorial. Vultr is a great cloud platform in the terms of speed, price, uptime and support. For more information, you can check out this video for full review. Also, check out the description box to get $100 free credits on Vultr.com to test their platform. Now let me show you the sign up process. It's very simple to sign up on this cloud platform. Just enter learningarmy.com/VL. VL stands for Vultr, and you will see this page. Basically, the promotional $100 free credits will only be available with this link. If you try to sign up directly, then you will get nothing. Okay, so after opening this page, you will see this sign up button. So click on it. Here on this page, you have to enter your email and password in these boxes. After that, solve this CAPTCHA and then click on this create account button. At this time, I already have a Vultr account, so let me log into this platform. After setting up your billing information, you will see this page. This is the dashboard of Vultr, and at this time, it is showing that no instances. So first of all, we have to deploy a server before installing the LAMP Stack. So simply click on this deploy instance button. Here you will see different types of servers, but we will use Cloud Compute to install the LAMP Stack. After that, select the server location. I am going to select New York. The next thing is operating system. We will use Ubuntu operating system, so select this OS. For this video tutorial, I am okay with the 25 GB SSD, 1 core CPU and 1 GB RAM. You can choose according to your budget and requirements. The next thing is host name. The host name will be Nginx, and after that, click on the deploy now button. Alright, our server is ready to use, but before starting the installation process, we have to permanently assign this IP address to our server, because if we need to restart our server, then this IP address will automatically change and our websites will stop working. Also, it is necessary to assign an IP address for the server before installing the LAMP stack. So move your cursor to this plus sign button and click on Add Reserved IP. This is our server's public IP address. Click on Convert and then Convert IP address. So as you can see guys, the IP address has been assigned to our server. Before we install Nginx, we will need to update our server's package index. In Ubuntu operating system, Nginx available with the default repository, so it's quite possible to install Nginx from these repositories using the apt packaging system. In this session, we will be working with the apt packaging system for the first time, so that's why it's important to update our server's package index. So to do this, first you have to type the apt update command in the terminal box and it will update all the required packages. Now we can install Nginx. So type apt install Nginx. Before executing this command, let me show you the server's output in the browser. So copy the server's IP address and open a new browser tab. Paste the IP address in the URL bar and hit enter. So as you can see, at this time there is nothing installed on this server. That's why it shows this error. So let's install the Nginx by executing this command. So press enter to execute. It's asking for the additional disk space that will be used to install Nginx. Type Y and press enter to continue. So this is the progress bar, shows the current installation status. Perfect. Nginx is now installed on our server. We can test it by reloading this tab to make sure it's working or not. Once you do that, you will see a welcome message on your screen and this tells you that Nginx has been successfully installed on your server. After installing the Nginx, now we can install MySQL. MySQL is a database management system. It helps to store and manage your website data and user data as well. WordPress or any dynamic CMS can't work without the database management system. To install MySQL, open your terminal box and type apt install mysql-sign server command and press enter. Now I am okay with the additional disk space that will be used to install MySQL on this server. So press Y and type enter to continue. So our database installation has been completed. Now we will need to configure MySQL. Also we have to secure MySQL installation so that we can prevent any security issues. To do that, simply type mysql_secure_installation command and press enter. Now you are going to prompt with a series of options. In the first option, it will ask you to activate Validate Password plugin. This plugin makes sure that any password you use matches a secure format, but this plugin interferes with the other components that we will install later. So simply type no and press enter. Now it will ask you to type a new password. For demo purpose, I am going to type a simple password, but you have to use a more secure password for this purpose. Re-enter the password to confirm and press enter key. The next option is, do we want to remove anonymous users? By default, MySQL allows anyone can log in to MySQL even without having a user account. So it is a major security issue. No one wants to see their website database without the permission. So yes, we do want to remove anonymous users. Type Y for yes and press enter key. The next question is, disallow login root remotely. Press Y to continue. By default, MySQL comes with test database accounts. We don't need these useless database accounts. So type Y to remove the test database accounts. To make these modifications, we have to reload the privileges. So type Y and press enter. When we install MySQL on Ubuntu operating system, by default the root user is authenticated by the AuthSocket plugin rather than with the MySQL native password. No doubt AuthSocket allows for some greater security and usability in many cases, but this plugin complicated the things when we install the phpMyAdmin that we will install later on this server. Now we have to switch this AuthSocket plugin to MySQL native password so that we can use a text-based password to login. To do this, simply log in to your MySQL first by typing MySQL command. Next, type this command. Well, this command will show you which authentication method each of your MySQL accounts uses. As you can see on this table, the user account root on the left side. This account is using AuthSocket plugin by default. Now we have to change this authentication method using this command. With alter user command, we can modify the user authentication method. At this time, we are using this command for the user root to modify the authentication plugin. So this is the plugin that we want to apply to this account, and this is the password for user root. I've used a very simple password because of this video purposes, but you definitely have to use more secure password than this. So press enter to execute this command. Let's take a look at the table again by typing the same command that we have run earlier. As you can see, user root now authenticates using a password. Now run the flush privileges command. Once you have done these all steps, now you can exit from MySQL by simply typing exit command. Now we have Nginx and MySQL installed on our server to serve our pages, also store and manage our data. But we still don't have anything that can generate dynamic content. We will use PHP scripting language that fulfills this purpose. And this is the same programming language that used to code WordPress. Since Nginx doesn't include native PHP processing like other web servers, we will need to install PHP FPM. PHP FPM is a fast CGI process manager. It helps to process PHP requests on our server. Also, we will install an additional helper package PHP MySQL that will allow PHP to communicate with our database backend. To do this, simply type this command. We have installed the required components contained within the LAMP stack bundle. Now we have to configure the block file. Block file is similar to the virtual host in the Apache server. This block configuration file instructs the server on how various components should be processed. For example, we have to specify what types of file extensions like PHP, HTML, CSS will process or handle by the server. Also, if you have multiple domains, then these domains would be configured in block files. At this time, we only have one domain, so we can use the default block configuration file. The block file is located in the Nginx folder within the sites available directory. To open this file, we will use the Nano file editor. Sometimes this file editor comes with default Ubuntu installation, but if you don't have it in your server, just type the apt install nano command. Now we have Nano installed on our machine. To open the block configuration file, type this command and press enter. So this is the block configuration file, and you can access this file with the arrow keys. Mouse cursor and clicks will not work in this editor. Here you can see some important items that are handled by the block file. This is the server block, and this block has different parameters. First, we have listen port parameter. That is the default port. All the HTTP traffic will go through port 80, but if we have SSL installed on our server, then the default port will be changed to 443. This is the document root folder, and this directory will use to upload our website files, and Nginx will serve the index file from this HTML folder. Now we have file extensions. With the help of this parameter, we can define the file extensions that Nginx will support. If you have noticed here, the .php extension not included in this list. This means it will not process the PHP files, and there is a comment: add index.php to the list if you are using PHP. We will install WordPress on this server that is developed in PHP, so we have to add index.php in this list. So go ahead and type index.php before the index.html. Next, we have the server name. When a request is made to our server, it instructs the server which block configuration file should be used. For example, if you host 2 or more than 2 domains on this server, then each domain will have a unique block configuration file, and this block file contains the setting related to the domain. At this time we don't have a domain attached to our server, but we will do it later in this video. So we only use our server's public IP address to access the web pages. So copy your server's public IP address and paste it here. After that we have a location block. This parameter instructs our server that if a particular page is not found on our server or in the HTML directory, then how to handle it. In this situation, our server will redirect the user to the 404 error page. Well, the 404 error indicates that the requested page or post cannot be found on the website. Now we have to uncomment some lines in this block file. In order to uncomment or change this file, you have to pay a little bit attention so that you don't make any mistake, else our server will not be able to communicate with the block file correctly. So first of all, uncomment this location block line. Then the second line. After this, uncomment the fast CGI pass Unix line and then the close bracket. Now the one thing you have to do is change the PHP version from 7.0 to 7.2 in this line. These parameters will help our server to process the PHP files or content using fast CGI. If we don't uncomment these lines, the component that we will install later will not work. After uncomment these lines, you have to uncomment this whole block. We have made the required changes in this block file. Now press Ctrl and X to exit. Press Y key to apply the modifications and press enter to save. Now enter the command nginx -t to test the block configuration file. So as you can see, it shows the syntax is okay and test is successful. That means we have edited the configuration file correctly. But if you have encountered any error, then make sure there is no mistake in the block file. At this time we don't have any error, so now we have to reload nginx by simply typing this command. So we have configured our server to handle and process the PHP files. To make sure our PHP working correctly, we will run a simple test. To run this test, we will create a PHP info file in our domain root directory. This PHP file displays all the information about PHP installation and configuration. So first of all, open your root directory using the cd command. Now we have to create an info.php file using the touch command. So simply type touch info.php and hit enter. Open this info.php in the nano file editor. Type nano info.php. So this is our empty info file. To print all the information on your browser, you have to type this PHP syntax. Now save this file by pressing Ctrl X. Type Y for save and hit enter to apply the changes. Now open your browser and type info.php after the server's public IP address. So as you can see, this is the page that we want to display. That means everything working correctly. So as you can see, this file contains all the information related to the PHP configuration. So we have to remove this file because this is only to be used for testing purpose. Also, this file has a bunch of information regarding our server. So we don't want anyone to misuse this file. So after testing, we have to remove this file. To remove the info.php file, open your terminal again and type rm info.php. Make sure you are running this command in the website's root directory. So let's check it again. Perfect. Our file has been removed from our server and no one can access this file using this URL. We have set up our web server and now we will connect our domain to this server. First, we have to change the name servers from the domain registrar. To do this, simply open your domain registrar. In my case, I'm using GoDaddy. If you are using another domain registrar and don't know how to change the domain name servers, then you can search on the internet or YouTube. Also, you can contact me, I'll help you. But if you are using GoDaddy, then follow these steps. After login, go to My Products page. Scroll down this page. Here, you will see your all domains. So click on DNS on the domain that you want to use. So this is the DNS page. Scroll down and click on this change button. On this page, select the second option, that is I'll use my own name servers. Now in these boxes, enter your name servers. I'm using Vultr, so I'll enter Vultr's name server, which is ns1.vultr.com, and the second one is ns2.vultr.com. These name servers will be different if you are using DigitalOcean, AWS or Google Cloud. Once you have entered your name servers, click on Save button. Mark this box to continue. Now reload this page to see the name servers are updated or not. So as you can see, our name servers are now updated on this page. After updating the name servers on the domain registrar, we have to add our domain to the cloud service provider. To do this, open your Vultr dashboard and go to product section and click on add domain. In the first box, enter your domain, and in the second box, enter your server's public IP address. Open the product page again and copy your IP address and paste it here, and then click on add button. This is the DNS page. In this page, you have to make sure that you have these two records. The first one is A record and the second is CNAME record. Now we have to edit this CNAME record. To do this, click on this edit record button, and in the first box, replace this star symbol with www prefix. Now click on update record button. So we have set up everything that connect our hosting web server to the domain registrar, but still it will take 30 minutes to 72 hours to get fully connected. So as you can see, it shows this error. So wait for a couple of hours to get the final result. After configuring the DNS, now we will need to configure our Nginx block configuration file so that we can include our domain in two different variations. So open your default block configuration file using Nano File Editor. Press enter to open. Now we are back in the file we have been working on before. In this file, we will need to update our server block. In this server block, we have to type our domain in two different variations. The first one is with www prefix and another one is without www prefix, including the IP address. So go to the server section and type your domain without www prefix learningarmy.xyz. This is my domain and it will be different in your case. Now type the domain with www prefix and make sure there is no spelling mistake in your domain name, otherwise it will create the problems. So now save the modifications by pressing Ctrl X. Press Y to save and hit enter. Now reload your server using the following command. Perfect. So we have configured our domain name and now it's time to secure it with the Let's Encrypt SSL certificate. Before we install it, let me quickly explain a little bit more about the SSL certificate. Well, SSL certificate stands for Secure Socket Layer. Basically, this is a security layer that is used to establish a secure connection between the web server and web browser. This layer ensures that data which is passed between the web browser and server will private and original. SSL is used by several websites for protecting their customers' data like credit card number, OTP, passwords, and other private things. Not only privacy, Google Chrome announced that they will be placing a not secure label on the websites that are not using the SSL. And these things create a negative impact on visitor and search engine ranking. So here we have two options to obtain a new SSL certificate. The first one is go to an SSL certificates provider like Namecheap.com or GoDaddy.com to buy a new SSL certificate for your website. Second, you can generate a free SSL certificate using Let's Encrypt. Let's Encrypt is a free, automated and open source certificate authority. Anyone who owns a domain name can use Let's Encrypt to obtain a trusted certificate at zero cost. So first of all, let me show you my non-secured website in the Why No Padlock. So copy your website address and paste it into this box. Solve this CAPTCHA. And click on Test Page button. So this is our website address, and as you can see there is no SSL certificate installed on this website. Also, you can see this inbox that shows the not secured warning in the browser. Alright, to install the Let's Encrypt, first we will need to install the Certbot. Basically, the Certbot is a free and fully automated software client that automates the process of obtaining and installing SSL on your domain. To install the Certbot, add the repository using this command and hit enter to execute. Press enter to continue. Perfect. Certbot has been installed and ready to be used for installation. Once the repository is added, now we have to install Certbot's Nginx package using the apt method. So type the following command. Enter Y to continue. Perfect. Certbot is ready to use, and now we can apply the SSL certificate for our domain. But before generating the SSL certificate, you should make sure that your domain is correctly entered into your Nginx server block configuration file. Because if your domain name is missing or spelled incorrectly, then the Certbot will not work properly. So if you want to be sure that everything is working correctly, then open your block configuration file using nano file editor that is located in sites available directory. Type this command and press enter. So what we are going to do is just go down to the server block using the arrow keys. Here in this section, make sure you have two domain variations. The first one is without www prefix and the another one is with the www prefix. Also make sure there is no spelling mistake in these domain name variations. So everything looks fine in this block configuration file. Now just go ahead and press Ctrl and X to exit. So we have confirmed our domain name, and now we can generate the SSL certificate for our domain. To do this, just type this command. Basically, we will run the Certbot with the Nginx plugin, and this dflag specify the domain name. Now enter your domain name. We have two variations of our domain with the www and without www prefix. So we have to specify both variations in dflag. So again, type $d and your domain with www prefix and press enter. If you are doing this for the first time on your server, then you will be prompted to enter an email address. So I'm going to enter my valid email address, because if there is any issue regarding the SSL certificate in the future, then Let's Encrypt will notify us with an email. So after writing a valid email address, press enter key. We have to agree terms and conditions and type A and press enter. Now I don't want to receive promotional news or any campaign emails in my inbox, so I'm going to press N and press enter. Now it's obtaining a new SSL certificate. Okay, now you will be prompted to a new question. Here it's asking that do you want to redirect your traffic to the HTTPS version or not. Now the HTTPS is the secured version of the HTTP and the SSL certificate works with the HTTPS protocol. After redirect to the HTTPS, if someone types our domain name in the browser, it will automatically redirect to the HTTPS instead of HTTP. So yes, we want to redirect our traffic to HTTPS. Press 2 and hit enter. Perfect. Our SSL certificate is downloaded and installed successfully. And you can see the congratulations message. Also you can see the certificate's file location. Now let's test our certificate. Let me show you the secured version in the YNotepad log tool. So again solve this CAPTCHA to retest and click on the test again button. It's scanning the SSL. So as you can see, our SSL connection is pass and this is the SSL certificate information. For example, the certificate provider, certificate type and other information. You can read it by pausing this video. So let me also show you in this browser. So this is the SSL log, which means it's working on the browser perfectly. And this is the certificate detail, including the expiry date. Perfect. So now as you can see our SSL working correctly on the website. Now we have to verify that our automatic system is working or not, because after 90 days it will expire and we don't want to open the terminal again and again for the SSL. So that is why double check the automation script. Now what we are going to do is we are going to execute a dry run test. So enter this command and press enter. After running this command, you will again see the congratulations message. That means our automation system works correctly, but if the auto renewal fails for any reason, Let's Encrypt will send you an email that you have provided so that you can identify the problem easily. We have configured our LAMP stack, but still we don't have a tool that allows a user to access the database on the web browser. So that we will install the phpMyAdmin. If you are planning to host a dynamic or WordPress website, then this is a good idea to have phpMyAdmin installed on your server. This is also a great thing for those users who are uncomfortable with the MySQL prompts. So phpMyAdmin is a tool that allows a user to manage the database through the web browser using the graphical interface. So after installing the phpMyAdmin, we will make sure that its accessibility is highly restricted. We will install the phpMyAdmin from the default Ubuntu repository, and first it is very important to update our local package index using the apt method. So go ahead and type apt update and press enter. After updating the packages, we can now install phpMyAdmin. So to do that, type apt install phpMyAdmin and press enter key. It will use 54 MB space from our storage device. So press Y to continue. Next, it will prompt you to select the web server that should be automatically configured to run phpMyAdmin. Since we have already installed the Nginx web server, so we will not use these web servers applications, and we have to deselect these options by pressing the tab key and press enter. Next, you will be asked the phpMyAdmin package must have a database installed and configured before it can be used. This can be optionally handled with dbconfig common. So yes, we do want to configure the database for phpMyAdmin with dbconfig. So select yes and press enter. Now we have to enter the password for phpMyAdmin. So type a secure password. We will use this password later, so you have to remember this password, or you can keep this password in a text file. After enters the password, select the OK button using the tab key. It will ask you to confirm the password, so re-enter the password and press enter key again. Now we have PHP installed on our server, but if you try to access the phpMyAdmin on the web browser, it will not work because we have not created the symbolic link. So we will need to create the symbolic link first from the installation directory to the Nginx web root directory. So type this command to make a symbolic link. Here we will be linking these two directories using the ln command. Now again open the phpMyAdmin by reloading the tab. Perfect. phpMyAdmin starts working on the browser. We have installed the phpMyAdmin. Now we need to install the mcrypt module because phpMyAdmin depends on this module. So open your terminal box again and type phpnmod space mcrypt command and press enter. After executing the command, you will see these warnings. Just ignore these warnings. Now we need to restart php fpm. So type this command. We have successfully installed phpMyAdmin on our server. Now it's very important to make it secure. For phpMyAdmin security, first we will change our default URL name. After that, we will use the authentication gateway. In the previous steps, we have created a symbolic link from the phpMyAdmin directory to the document root directory. That means anyone can open phpMyAdmin using the default URL. Well, this is our default URL, your domain name /phpMyAdmin. So this is what we want to avoid, because if someone can locate your login page, they can set up an automated brute force bot to attempt to gain access to your database. So we have to change the standard phpMyAdmin URL to something less obvious. So open your terminal box and go to the HTML document root directory using the cd command. Now list the content using ls-sign s command, and you will see the phpMyAdmin symbolic link here. So let's change this link so that we can access it using a unique URL. To do that, just enter this command mv phpMyAdmin space private db. The private db is the symbolic link that we will use instead of phpMyAdmin. You can replace this private db with something else if you want. So press enter to apply these changes. Again, list the content using the ls command. Well, as you can see, the symbolic link changed from phpMyAdmin to private db. Let me also show you in the browser. So reload this page, and this is the error that we want on this link. Now remove the phpMyAdmin and type private db and press enter. Perfect, it's working on this link. Always try to use a unique symbolic name so that we can prevent any brute force attack. We have changed our symbolic link. In addition, to create another layer of security, we can use the authentication gateway. We will set up an authentication prompt that a user would be required to pass before entering the phpMyAdmin login screen. By default, Nginx allows providing this feature to set up an authentication gateway by modifying the Nginx default block configuration file. But before we do this setup, first we will need to create a password file that will store the authentication credential, such as username and password. In order to create this authentication file, we have to encrypt that password using the crypt function. To create this password, type OpenSSL space PASSWD. Now type the password that you would like to use. Type again to confirm the password. So as you can see, this function converted our password into the encrypted string. We will use this password in the authentication file that we will create soon. You can copy this password or keep this password in the notepad. To create the authentication file, open the nginx directory using the cd command. Now create an empty PMA password file using the touch command. So type touch space PMA underscore pass in this directory. After creating this file, type nano slash PMA underscore pass to edit this PMA file. So in this file we have to mention the username first. For demo purposes, I'm going to type WP superuser. You can use your own username as your choice. After the user, we need to paste our encrypted password that we have generated in the previous steps using the colon symbol. So go ahead and type a colon and paste the password. Now press Ctrl and X to exit and Y to save and hit enter. We have created our authentication file using the username and password. Now we have to modify the nginx block configuration file so that we can apply our username and password to the phpMyAdmin. To do that, open the nginx default block configuration file in the nano file editor and press enter. In this file, we need to create a new location block. Let me quickly enter the new location section. This block will target the location that we have selected for our phpMyAdmin interface using the symbolic link private db. After that, we set the value of the variable to display the authentication message. Don't mention your password or something else that helps an unauthenticated person to open this page. For video purposes, I used admin login. After that, we have used the authentication file that we have created earlier in the auth basic user file variable. Now save this file and hit enter to write. Now we have to restart our web server to implement these changes in this file. So type this command to restart the nginx server. So now let's try to access our page. Perfect. So as you can see, after applying these changes, it will ask you to enter the username and password to access the phpMyAdmin. Let me fill the credential. Okay. Our phpMyAdmin working fine. Now let me enter the wrong data to confirm that it's working correctly or not. So I'm going to open another browser. Type the phpMyAdmin URL and press enter. it's asking for the credential. So first let me enter the wrong password. Okay, it's not working. Now try to enter the wrong username and press enter. Okay, again it's not working. Now let me enter the right credential. Great, so it works. To install WordPress on our server, we need to create the database first. This is the required process since WordPress uses MySQL database to manage and store the site and user information. We will use phpMyAdmin to create the database. So open your phpMyAdmin and log into your root account using the username root and password. Now click on this new button to create the database. Here enter the database name that you want to create. For video purposes, I'm going to use testdb and click on create button. During the setup of LAMP stack, we have installed a minimal setup of PHP extensions so that PHP can communicate with MySQL. But in order to install WordPress, we need to install some additional PHP extensions. These extensions will help our server to serve the WordPress files or data correctly. So the first thing we need to do is update our local package index using the apt method. So type apt update and press enter. Now use this command to download and install the required packages for the WordPress. Press enter to execute and press Y to continue. Once you have installed the required packages, the next step is to modify our default block configuration file. We will add a location block within the main server block. With this location block, we will manage the robot.txt file and favicon.ico file. Since these files take a lot of server resources to serve, so we will mark these types of file as highly cacheable, and we will make sure that these files will serve from our system cache as often as possible. Okay, so first open your block configuration file using the nano file editor. After opening the block configuration file, the first thing that you can do is to edit the try file. This will ensure that our WordPress permalinks work properly. The permalinks is a full URL of a specific post, page, or another piece of content on your website. So all you need to do is just replace this is equal to 404 with this text. Now create an empty line and copy this location block and paste it in this line after the closing bracket. So as you can see, we have three different types of location blocks, including the favicon.ico and robot.txt. Also we have this images location block to cache different types of image file formats. By doing this, we can save our server's resources. Now you can save this file. After modifying the block configuration file, now we are ready to download and install WordPress on our server. So first, we will download the latest version of WordPress from the official WordPress website. This is the most secure way to download WordPress files. So open your temporary directory first, called tmp, using the cd command. Now download the WordPress file using the curl command. You can use the wget command as well to download the WordPress file. So anyway, just press enter key to download. Now we have downloaded the WordPress compressed file in our temporary directory. The next thing we need to do is extract the WordPress compressed file. So use this command to extract and press enter. Perfect. The next step is we need to copy the WordPress configuration sample.php file to the WordPress config.php, because this file will contain our MySQL database information. So enter this command and press enter. Now we have to copy the whole directory into the website root directory using this command. Well, we will use the A flag to ensure that our permissions are maintained. Also, we will use this dot after the current directory so that all the content in this directory, including the hidden files, should be copied. Press enter to execute. So now we need to assign ownership so that Nginx will be able to read and write the WordPress files in order to serve the website and perform automatic updates. So type this command and press enter key. Great. Now type nginx -t to check the configuration. Perfect. So our syntax is okay and the test is successful. Once you have done this, now reload the Nginx server using this command. After restart, open your browser and enter your domain URL. On this page, you will see a database error because we have not configured our wp config file. That is why it's not able to create the connection between WordPress and MySQL database. So open your terminal box again and open the HTML directory using the cd command. Get the content list by typing ls -s command. Here you will see this wp-sign config.php file that we want to update. So open this file in the terminal and go to the database section. In the first directive, enter the DB name. In my case, I have created the database called testdb, so copy and paste it here. Next, enter the username. So currently we are using a root account, so enter root in this field. In the password, enter your database password. Now save this file and reload the website again. Great. Now select your language and click on continue button. After that, you will see this form. First, enter the site title. In my case, it will be Learning Army. Username admin and a simple password for demo purposes. Confirm a weak password. Enter your email and click on install WordPress. Alright, our installation has been successfully completed. Now you can log in to your WordPress dashboard by clicking on this login button. So enter your username and password to login. So this is our WordPress dashboard or a WordPress website hosted on the cloud server using Nginx. Now you are ready to move to cloud hosting using Nginx without any issue.